Coffee with the Pastor. I'm Pastor John Woodin, and this is a ministry of Hollywood Faith Christian Center in beautiful Hollywood, Florida. Well, we continue our programming on Israel. This morning we'll start in Isaiah 11. Isaiah says this, that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people who are left from Assyria and Egypt, and from Pathros and Cush, from Elam and Shinar. In other words, all over the world, that he will regather them. This is the second regathering. If you remember, the first was after the Babylonian exile and the destruction of Jerusalem by Nebuchadnezzar around the 6th century BC. And then we have the regathering of Israel after the Romans destroyed. Remember, the Romans destroyed Jerusalem in 70 AD. There is no regathering at that point, but he's done it now. Nearly 2,000 years later, he brings together the remnant of Israel into, again, the second time. Now, here's another lie about that Israel is a colonizer. Well, that can be nothing further from the truth. You can't colonize your own land. And there's already archaeological evidence of a Jewish presence in Israel for the last 4,500 years, historically in that land. Even during the Middle Ages, when there were very few Jews in Jerusalem, there has never been a time that there were no Jews in Israel. Never. Even when there was just a handful during parts of the Middle Ages, there were as few as 50 Jews, but there never was a time that there was no Jews in Jerusalem. Now, the New York Times, really it was a lie, said that from 1948 to 1967, there were no Jews in the Jewish quarter of Jerusalem. Well, that is true, sort of. They were driven out by the Arabs. The Jordanian authorities drove them out in 1948 and forced them all to leave. I know because after the Six-Day War in 1967, I met a man whose father was the very first Jewish man to move back into the Jewish quarter in 1967 when Israel retook the rest of all of Jerusalem. Another lie is that Israel is an apartheid state. Well, that apartheid, that word is a word from Afrikaans, which from South Africa, from a period of 1948 to around in the 1980s, where there was a separatist movement in that the white minority of South Africa ruled over the black majority. And they called it separateness or Afrikaans. Apartheid. But I will tell you, there are Palestinians and Arabs that are members of the Israeli parliament. When you go to Israel, it's all different kinds of people. You see them in all different flavors, and they're all Jews, and they're living in Israel, all working and living together. There's another lie, genocide. That they've gone in and they're going to kill all Palestinians. No, they're killing all terrorists, and they've asked people to leave. What army do you ever see that has warned his enemy that they're coming in and the exact time that's going to start? In many cases, the Palestinians and the Hamas does not allow the people to leave because they use them as a shield. They don't care about the people. They're stealing their money. The Hamas leaders are living in Qatar, away from the hubbub of Gaza, in palatial luxury, in the Four Seasons Hotel, with billions of dollars that they've looted out of the Gaza, that money that's been given by the European Union and the United States for aid to the people get nothing. And where's the world outcry on this? On October 7th, 2023, 1,200 Israelis were murdered, massacred, raped And the UN and all the woke groups for women's rights have said nothing. Nothing. One group, the woke group for the women's rights, said that, well, they didn't want to say anything because it would just make the situation worse. How silly. When they've gone after conservatives and other Republicans and other things that they've gone after and accused them of all sorts of things, but now don't seem to have lost their ability to speak. Ezekiel 36, for I'll take you from among the nations and gather you out of all the countries and bring you into your own land. And I will sprinkle clean water on you, and you shall be clean. I will cleanse you from all filthiness and from all your idols. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. I will take the heart of stone out of your flesh and give you a heart of flesh. I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes. And you will keep my judgments and do them. And you shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers. You shall be my people, and I will be your God. Isaiah 41 says this, but you, Israel, are my servant, Jacob, who I've chosen, the descendants of Abraham, my friend. You whom I've taken from the ends of the earth and called from its farthest regions and said to you, you are my servant, I have chosen you and have not cast you away. Fear not. I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And Isaiah 35 says this, the wilderness and the wasteland shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose. If you've ever been to Israel, you know that the desert blooms. Literally, there are banana plantations. It's not possible to grow bananas naturally in the desert because you don't have enough humidity, but the Israelis managed to get the bananas to grow and then cover the bananas with bags so that they don't get burned from the sun because there's not any much moisture in the atmosphere. There are tomatoes, there are all sorts of things. Now, as nearly just about a century before, Mark Twain, the famous humorist, Samuel Clemens, goes to Israel, to the Holy Land in 1867, and he wrote of the Holy Land, of all the lands there are for dismal scenery, I think Palestine must be the prince. The hills are barren and they are dull of color, they are unpicturesque in shape. The valleys are unsightly deserts fringed with a feeble vegetation that has an expression about it of being sorrowful and despondent. It is a hopeless, dreary, heartbroken land. Let me tell you, it's not that way today. It is a robust economy. It is a tremendous agricultural innovator. It's not that way today because God has made the desert bloom. Now here's another lie. From the river to the sea. Well, people don't even the protesters don't even know what that means. They've asked them, on camera, and they said, well, I don't know what that means. I guess I should check it out. And yet you're shouting from the river to the sea. That means from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea, all of Israel. Well, that will never happen. God will never allow his people to be dispersed again. Leviticus 25, but here's something that does think as a Christian we need to be concerned about. Excuse me. The Leviticus 25 says, the land shall not be sold permanently, for the land is mine, saith the Lord. For you are strangers and sojourners with me, and in all the land of your possession you shall grant redemption of the land. And then he says in Joel chapter 3 that there is a judgment coming for those that have divided my land. You see, it's not mine to divide. It's as if I came to your house and sold your house. Said, I decided I'm going to sell your house. And you say, wait a minute, that's my house. You can't sell my house. And I think God could rightly say you can't give away my land. You cannot give away my land. 5 times, here's another lie, 5 times since 1937, the Arabs have rejected the Palestinian state. Most recently, in the year 2000 and 2008, it was all said and done. In fact, Prime Minister Olmert in 2008 added more land into the equation and was prepared to sign off even on a piece of Jerusalem be given over to the Arabs, and they rejected it. So when they cry for a Palestinian state, what are they asking for? What they want is all of Israel. Oh no, we don't want Israel. Israel can exist. But whatever they've offered you, you've always turned it down. In 1937, just prior to World War II, the British offered them 80% of the land as for the Arabs and 20% for the Jews. They rejected it. Every time it's come up, it's been rejected. In 2000, it was done. It was inked by President Clinton. He had orchestrated with the Jewish leadership and with the Palestinians. And Yasser Arafat goes back to the Middle East and declares the Intifada in 2000, holy war, and the deal fell apart. Psalm 122 says this, "Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May they prosper who love you. Peace be within your walls, prosperity within your palaces. For the sake of my brethren and companions, I will now say, peace be within you. Because of the house of the Lord our God, I will seek your good." Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. There's no other city in the whole Bible that said pray for the peace of Washington, D.C., pray for the peace of Paris, pray for the Chinese people, pray for the Russians. No, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. In Matthew 23, Jesus says, "O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, the one who kills the prophets and stones those who are sent to her. How often I wanted to gather your children together as the hen gathers her chicks under her wings, but you were not willing. Your house is left desolate. For I say to you, you will see me no more until you say, Baruch haba b'shem Adonai," until you say, "Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord." And I've heard Dr. Jürgen Buehler, who is the head of the Christian Embassy Jerusalem, say that until there is revival in Jerusalem, that Jesus will not return until that happens. Until you say, he says to Jerusalem, until you say, "Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord." In Isaiah 62, we finish with this, "For Zion's sake I will not hold my peace, and for Jerusalem's sake I will not rest, until her righteousness goes forth as brightness, and her salvation as the lamp that burns. The Gentiles shall see your righteousness, and all kings your glory. You shall be called by a new name which the mouth of the Lord shall name. You shall also be a crown of glory in the hand of the Lord, a royal diadem in the hand of your God. You shall no longer be termed forsaken, nor shall your land any more be termed desolate. You shall be called Hephzibah, and your land Beulah, married. For the Lord delights in you, and your land shall be married." And finally he says, "I have set watchmen, prayer warriors, on your walls, O Jerusalem. You shall never hold their peace day or night. You who make mention of the Lord, do not keep silent, and give him no rest until he establishes, until he makes Jerusalem a praise."